Did you pick up Corvus Glaive, or are you thinking about it? Did you want to play him in more than just a ramp deck that you've seen all over the internet and still be competitive? Then you need to play this discard deck I created called Corvus Collector. I played this deck and had a 66.7% win rate over 15 games. That's not a lot of games to look at, but a really good start, and I was very competitive in the 90s on the ladder. So if you guys are looking to play something new and something different, and actually something that's kind of fun instead of all these linear decks like Thanos, then take a look at this deck and the stats, and then we'll look at some gameplay and see what you think. But before we do, will you please take a moment to snap me a like and a subscribe? 90% of those who watch my videos are not subscribed. It's free and helps me to bring you more original Marvel Snap content. I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and let's snap. Okay, so let's take a look at the cards in this deck I call Corvus Collector. The first card obviously being Corvus Glaive, who is the new Spotlight Cash card this week. And he is a 3-cost, 5-power card. And on reveal, he discards 2 cards from your hand to get +1 max energy. The +1 max energy is good and sometimes can be helpful in this deck, but we're really interested in discarding lots and lots of cards. The other card, and these are our main point engines, is the Collector. When a card enters your hand from anywhere except your deck, you get +1 power, and Morbius. Ongoing +2 power for each time you discard a card this game. These 2 cards with this deck, you can often get in both of them into the teens, and sometimes I've gotten them into the 20s too. It's been pretty wild. So you can really generate a lot of power off of these 2 cards in this deck, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to use Swarm, who is a 2-cost 3, but goes down to 0 cost the moment you discard him, and then creates a copy of himself. So the more we can discard this, it's going to continue to build up both Morbius and the Collector. And so you're going to really jack them up. This is our key target that we really want to hit with this deck over and over again. The other key target in this deck is Apocalypse. When you discard this card, you put it back in your hand with +4 power. And of course, he's going to go on the right hand like all discarded cards do. So if you're wanting to play Blade, then you can snag him again, and every time he's going to get up. And sometimes you can get him up to, obviously 16 power, 20 power, 24 power. He is an additional potential win condition, but sometimes we don't even play him out on the board. So just be aware of that. You can definitely do that, but sometimes he's just there to keep discarding over and over again. And then the third target we're looking at is Helicarrier. Helicarrier is a 6-cost 10 card, but he's in this deck because we want to discard him and then fill your hand with random cards. So once we discard him, our Collector is going to go up. So we only want to discard him when our hand is getting pretty empty. Okay, so and we have Collector out on the board, else we lose all the value. That's the ideal. Okay, so our other cards are there to discard things. Blade, on reveal, discard the rightmost card from your hand. Calling Wing is here to hit our swarms when they get hit at 0 cost. We can keep hitting some more swarms and creating more and bumping up our Morbius and our Collector. Then we have Lady Sif, who's another targeted discard card that we're going to try and hit our Apocalypse or our Helicarrier. Okay, so we only want to play her when those 2 cards are on the board, and hopefully we want Morbius and or Collector down as well, because you're gonna increase their power. Hellcow is here because he discards 2 cards. Now he's random, but he's also here because he has a premium stat line at 4/8, a really good stat line. And so we want to use him to discard, boost up our Morbius, boost up our Collector, and then also put pressure on maybe a 3rd lane or a 2nd lane, depending on what we're doing. MODOK is on reveal, you discard your hand. And so all these swarms you have in your hand, Apocalypse, you're just regenerating. If you hit Helicarrier, you get all these cards to generate and boost Collector up and boost Morbius up, and it's pretty awesome. Plus, he has an excellent stat line, so he's got 8 power. So you play him next to your Hellcow, and now you've got 16 power in that lane. So that's just 2 cards. So you're doing really well. You could finish them off with Apocalypse and maybe a Swarm or something, and that's a whole lane that you can win just on your own there. Okay, so those are the cards, and the last one is Lockjaw. And the reason why we have Lockjaw in here is why else we want to continue to discard and stuff. And this is so cool because we want to throw cards that are going to create discard. Like we can throw Corvus Glaive in here and then recycle him and keep hitting, getting more max energy if we so desire. We can throw Hellcow in here. We can throw Blade in here. But also the idea is to hit your swarms early on, and then you can throw a 0 cost swarm in there. So if that recycles back up from Lockjaw, now you have 3 power. Okay, so we're not using Thanos stones, we're using swarms to recycle our discard cards in this deck. And it's a lot of fun. And so you're just keep hitting your swarms, and you're keep hitting your Hellcows and your Modocs and those kinds of things, and you're generating lots and lots of power on your Collector and your Morbius. That's the deck, guys. Let's look at maybe some play lines, although you could probably see what they are as I've talked through the cards. So let's take a look at that. If you haven't snapped me a like and subscribe, would totally appreciate it. Let's snap. All right, let's Marvel Snap community. Let's talk about the turn by turn for Corvus Collector. Just realize this is super generic. I have to be very linear. There's so many different possibilities in what's happening in the game. So this is super basic, so take it for what it's worth as I talk through this. On 1, you can play Blade. I usually don't, but you can play Blade. When can you play him? Well, if you have Apocalypse on the right-hand part of your deck in your opening draw, or you have Swarm in the right-hand part of your deck. If you have Helicarrier in the right-hand side, I would not play Helicarrier, or I would not cut him open, because you want Collector on the board before you cut open the Helicarrier or discard the Helicarrier. So that's what I would do there. But generally, I'm not going to play him. On turn 2, if I have the Collector in hand, I want to put him down. If I have the Collector and Morbius in hand, I'm going to prioritize the Collector over Morbius, just because if they have like a rogue or something like that, you can't do anything with the Collector, right? He's not an ongoing card like Morbius is. And the Collector will not collect as you discard, like swarms or things. He will not collect while he's in your hand or in your deck, whereas Morbius will grow in power every time you discard until you put him on the board, and then all that power will appear. So definitely want to prioritize Collector. Morbius, if I don't have Collector, sometimes I will throw him on the board. If I have some targeted discard that I can leave Morbius in my hand and discard something else safely without getting rid of Morbius, then I'm going to leave him in my hand so that he can't get rogued or enchantressed, or, you know, people can start, my opponent can start playing around him. Now, if you don't have any of these 2-drops or Blade in your hand, you can then play Calling Wing if you have your swarms in hand. So that is okay, not necessarily ideal. On turn 3, you want to put down Lockjaw. Lockjaw is going to help you generate more discard and really start to, if you don't have Collector or Morbius, he could pull up a Collector for you as you discard someone in. So as soon as you get Lockjaw, usually I'm putting him down on turn 3, just depending, you know, maybe I have like, I didn't draw Morbius until turn 3, and I have Morbius and a Blade, and I could discard Apocalypse. So then you would go Morbius and Blade for turn 3, or Calling Wing and Blade, depending on what, you know, what kind of situation you're looking at with your hand. Another option is just Corvus Glaive. Now, I would not Corvus Glaive if I have Morbius and Collector in my hand. Again, we don't want to lose those cards. We're really trying to pump those up to big numbers. But I'm going to throw him down if I have Swarm in there. Maybe on turn 2, I was able to cut up some swarms. So I have extra swarms to cut into. So I'm going to drop Corvus Glaive down. But again, you have to be careful about that because he's just randomly going to pull 2 cards. And sometimes you lose your other big stat cards that you don't want to lose. On 3, you can also play Lady Sif, who is targeted to 6 cost cards. So if you have Apocalypse in your hand, you can go ahead and throw Lady Sif down, or Helicarrier, especially if Collector is down, then you're safe to, discard Helicarrier and really jack up the Collector as long as your hand is pretty empty. So just be aware of that. On turn 4, you can put down Hellcow, depending on the RNG you are okay or comfortable with. Sometimes you'll get rid of MODOK, but sometimes with this deck, like if you can get Hellcow and MODOK, you have 16 power. And a lot of times I want to play them in the same lane, or I'm going to play them into my Lockjaw so that I can get another recycle out on Swarm. Just be careful with Swarm. If he's not in your hand, you don't want to pull him up in your Lockjaw, because then you're not going to generate power with the Collector or with Morbius. But we could also just go with the Swarm. If we've cut up a Swarm in the early rounds 1 through 3, we can then play Hellcow. We can play Hellcow into Lockjaw or outside and make sure that power's on the board. And then we could throw a Swarm, a 0-cost Swarm, into Lockjaw and generate some more. Make sure you keep 1 Swarm in your hand, right? So you can keep cutting that up. So you'll just have to look and see what you want to do there. On turn 5, you could play MODOK. You don't have to play MODOK, but that is an option. Turn 5, if you have a lot of swarms in your hand, if you have Helicarrier in your hand, etc., you want to really boost up your Morbius and your Collector. You can do that on turn 5, and you can also throw in a Swarm into your Lockjaw or throw MODOK into your Lockjaw. So you're just going to have to play around with that and see what your board state's like and what your hand's looking like and so forth and so on. Again, this is just very generic. On turn 6, now that you've done all your discarding, you could play Apocalypse and then just a swarm of swarms on the board. You can throw 1 into Lockjaw if you still have a space open in Lockjaw. So that's a free roll. And then you can try and generate one of these cards, these earlier cards that have more power that will help boost your Lockjaw lane up. Now, if you weren't, you could also save MODOK for turn 6 or one of these other cards for turn 6 so that your Morbius and your Collector aren't in like Shang-Chi-able range, those kinds of things. Obviously, we don't have any tech cards in here, so you're going to have to be really careful with Rogue and Shadow King for your Collector. Shadow King doesn't affect Morbius. You're going to have to be careful of that. You're going to have to be careful of Shang-Chi, of course. But anyways, you have a lot of options with all these 0 costs. You're just feeding Lockjaw. And then when you hit Helicarrier, you can put Helicarrier down, but typically you're discarding Helicarrier. And then he's going to give you all sorts of cards that potentially can help you win. Helicarrier actually helped me win my first game that I show in this recording. So anyways, guys, that's the deck. That's the turn by turn. Play with it. Tell me in the comments what works best for you. Maybe there's a card in here that you don't like. I've considered cutting Blade out. I'm not sure how critical he is. He is just another card that helps us discard, and he's cheap to throw into Lockjaw on turn 4 if I haven't had any luck with other discards or getting Lockjaw until turn 4. So then I could save him and on turn 4 play Lockjaw and then Blade into Lockjaw. So that's also a good advantage there. So, but let me know what you guys think, and maybe there's other cards as you play around with this deck that you feel like is more successful or more good. I found this to work really well. Just a couple general strategies. You can do a couple of things First of all, you can play the Collector and Morbius into separate lanes. And then you could play your big stack cards or your Lockjaw into a third lane with your big stack cards, dropping them into it. Or you could play your big stack cards like Hellcow and MODOK into to support your Morbius lane and your Collector lane in case they get Shang-Chi'd or something. So that's another option. Or you can throw the Collector and Morbius into the same lane, like I do, I think, in this first game I'm going to show you. And that can be a huge lane for you. I do that because there's a guy who plays armor. My opponent plays armor. So I'm like, I'm going to protect these guys. And they're going to carry that lane unless they have rogue or something, right? So anyways, that is an option. And then you could play all your big stack cards, your 8s, your Apocalypse, all into another lane. Your Lady Sif, your Corvus Glaive. So you can really generate some medium level unshang-chiable stats in another lane. So that's why this is a really strong deck, because you're going big in some lanes, you're going medium in other lanes, and you always got Lockjaw to get them thinking. And because you're playing Apocalypse, a lot of times they think, oh wow, you know, he's going to drop his Apocalypse down on me. I've seen it been discarded a couple of times, and you don't have anything but, like, you know, a couple swarms left or something, or one swarm left. So that happens in one of the games as well that I show you just in a moment. You guys let me know if you discover some more things. I would love to hear, and just get this discard ramped up for Proxima Midnight coming out, which I'll probably again throw in her for Lady Sif is probably my guess there. So I have another target to get 7 power onto the board. Anyways, appreciate you guys. If this is helpful to you, please comment down below. Super helps. Please snap me a like and a subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And let's look at some gameplay, how I pilot the deck. Let's snap. Clintar, we got to avoid that location, obviously. Hopefully this isn't a bad location. Sometimes I'm just willing to go right there, but let's get the extra 2 on Collector. Okay, that's good. Now I think what we're going to do is we're going to split these guys up. Dangerous. I hate to use MODOK so early, but it's either MODOK or Hellcow. And Hellcow, I can potentially hit him, and so that'd be unfortunate. But I think we're gonna risk it. And Hellcow's okay to go right there, because then he just turns into an 8-powered. Okay, perfect. Now hopefully we hit another swarm. Nah, man, come on. It's so cheap. Oh, great. I think what I want to do here is just do this, right? That actually works pretty good for us, because we're going to definitely hit one swarm. I just feel like he's going to probably be playing Enchantress with that Sarah. He's probably got something to deal with my Morbius, and maybe even Shadow King for my Collector, which means we lose. Okay. Bro. Like, seriously. We can spare. And then we can get Collector super jacked if I get rid of all these cards. Here comes Shadow King on the Collector. I just feel like I'm going to get Shadow King'd all sorts of stuff, which is unfortunate.
Wind, aid my hand.
That's just a stat thing. Oh. Okay. Well, I could definitely pull one of those back, but I'm not sure I need to. We could go Dazzler right here, which is perfect. And then, I mean, I could actually fill this if I wanted to. This would be kind of fun, huh? It's probably smart to play Omega. 3/3, can't miss Marvel here. Could maybe do it there. Let's do this. This looks like fun. I'm gonna snap him though, because I want some freaking cubes out of this, man. I honestly don't see how he can win, but maybe he will. Who knows? He's gonna probably Shang me? Oh, come on, man. Seriously? What's this? Surfer? Oh, he tied me there. Woo! Thank you, Dazzler. That was nice. Nice dub. Apocalypse come up. Yeah, you know what happens. Mac. Mac the Wonder Dog. Alright, we got... This is better. We have Morbius. Let's see if we can get Collector. Hey, another discard deck. Which is maybe not so good because... Let's see. Is he going to play it there? Nope. He played it middle. That's unfortunate. Oh, that's fortunate. Dawkin, that's nice. I thought about putting Dawkin in this deck. But I didn't. So there. Let's go. Let's put him out on the board. Ooh, let's do it reverse. Let's do this. Get Helicarrier. And then Corvus. We probably should have put Corvus on the right, huh? Ooh, that looks good. Oh, that's okay. Oh, geez. Don't take all my power cards! Oh, no. That kind of messed us right there. Oh, man. He's going to get the max energy for sure, right? The only thing I could do is this and this. And he's definitely going to fill that, so that's not a good play. Oh, wait, I don't want to retreat. What do we do here, guys? This is a tough one. That is a bummer right there. I mean, I guess we could drop Swarm in and then do that. Let's do it. Because he's going to get... And then maybe we pull our Swarm back out. Okay, so now we're winning there until he Dawkins. Oh, man. Well, we got our Swarm back. That didn't work. Let's see. I think, do we move him left? Then we lose left. We obviously have to move. I think he's going to be able to buff Dawkin. So do we just bail out of this lane? I think we just bail out of that lane, but he might do the same thing. Let's bail out of that lane, and then let's go swarm. I wish I had one more card. This is pathetic. Oh, he retreated. Let's go. Thanks for joining me. That is a deck I call Corvus Collector. It's going to get even better when Proxima Midnight comes out next week. So please snap me a like and subscribe. I really appreciate your support. And it's free to you. Just snap that like button. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next one. And let's snap.